You can start now.
Right. Good day. My name is Tcn2501-Siwes, and this is Group 1 Project NX201 Industry Project Advanced Version, titled End-to-End Detection and Mitigation of a Multi-Stage Attack using Linux logs, MITRE attack, and automated threat response. This project is a multifunctional, Bash-based cyberscript toolkit designed to detect, simulate, and respond to a wide range of threats in real time. With 6 modular stages, it covers everything from brute force, SSH attacks, and privilege escalation to threat persistence, data exfiltration, and incident response. It also maps activities to the MITRE attack framework to ensure threat attribution, whether for training, research, or operational defense. This toolkit empowers security teams to proactively monitor and mitigate systems compromise, all from a single interactive script. Now, this is presented by Group 1, Achoim Chimeremeze, Ainde Taiwo Michael, and Awodin Elijah.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen now?
No.
Okay. So my name is Taiwo Michael, and I'll be taking the project objectives of NX201 Industrial Group Project. So the project objective is to simulate, detect, analyze, and mitigate a multi-stage cyber attack involving reconnaissance, credential access, privilege escalation, lateral movement, and data exfiltration. Using Linux native tools and automation, the project aims to simulate real-world Tier 2 SOC functions, incorporating MET attack framework, threat intelligence, and automated incident response. So simulation validation to confirm attack simulation, replicate realistic multi-stage threat behavior, then detection optimization, refine log parsing scripts, and enhance automation of blocking measures for responsiveness, admin enhancement, integrate additional security layers such as enhanced app armor profiles and audit policies, then incident response integration, develop SOC workflows, incorporating automated alerts with manual analyst validation.
The project structure. 1. Recon and access. We used Nmap, Nikto, and Hydra for scanning and SSH brute force. 2. Exploitation. Simulated SSH brute force, ARP spoofing, and keylogging captured logs. Basically captured logs. 3. Post-exploitation. Establish persistence via netcat, cron jobs, and SSH keys. Data exfiltration. Simulated file exfiltration over HTTP, FTP, monitored with T-sharp. 5. Defensive security. Used audit D, CHK rootkit, and MITRE mapping for threat detection. And 6. Incident response. Compiled attack timeline, artifacts, and reports for final presentation.
Stage 1, reconnaissance and initial access. For the attack simulation, we use Hydra to perform automated brute force SSH attacks targeting Linux server authentication mechanisms. The detection methodology, we extract failed login attempts from VAR log autolog using bash pipelines or sorts to identify suspicious IP attempting access, and automated mitigation implements real-time IP blocking with IP tables or UFW to thwart ongoing brute force attempts, minimizing the attack surface. Configuration and setup. Log file. The log file we monitor for SSH failures, threshold, number of failed attempts from an IP block before blocking, temp DRR, temp folder to store tracking data, track_file keeps a list of all failed IPs to track how many times each one appears. Blocked file stores IPs that have already been blocked to avoid duplicate blocking. mkdir-p creates the temp directory if it doesn't exist. Initialize the files. But first of looking at this code here, log file, you can see the file that we're using to check for the logs, which is var log host.log. And then in threshold, we set, then the temp underscore dir, we made the directory temp dir, then the track underscore file for field IP, and then the blocked underscore file for the blocked IPs. Then we initialize the files to ensure that the two tracking files exist, so the script doesn't crash on first use with the command touch track underscore file blocked underscore file. Now we monitor log and block IPs. Using this command here, monitor log, this function, this starts tail -fn0, which follows the log in real time. The -f flag follows the name changes like log rotation. It reads new lines and filters those that contain failed password. As you can see here, we have failed password, SSH login failures. And then the IP, to extract that from the failed password that it gets out, we use the awk print $nf-3, which extracts the IP address from that line and assigns it to this here. Then we grep-c IP, which counts how many times the IP or this IP has appeared in the track file. That is how many failed attempts, and adds the new attempt to the tracking file. Now, if the failed or if the IP count exceeds the threshold that was set, then it checks if it has already been blocked. If not, logs the block to the terminal, adds a firewall rule using IP tables to drop all traffic from that IP address, and records the blocked IP to the blocked underscore file. Then we use the real-time watcher with iNotify-wait. The iNotify-wait watches for modifications to the log in real time. When auto-log is updated, it triggers the monitor log function. -m flag keeps it running, that is monitoring the loop. This way, as soon as a failed SSH attempts are logged, the script responds in near real time. And then this is the output. So let's go to our Kali to demonstrate this. For this, we're going to be using two Kali systems, one for the target and the other for the attacker. So this system would be acting as the attacker. We'll be using Hydra to attack this other system here. So let's run the script. So this is the dashboard for the script. And now we'll be running stage 1, which is SSH brute force SSH brute force monitor. Now that the code is run and the watches have been established, we now start SSH service. All right, now we go over to the attacker machine, and then we execute the Hydra attack. As you can see here, it's still watching and waiting for the attack to exceed the threshold, then it blocks the IP address of this system. From the code, we set the threshold to 6. And as you can see, after the 6th attempt, it's going to stop on the 7th and freeze, because then if you go back to the target system, you can see blocking IP, the IP address of this system after 6 failed attempts. You can see here. So once the IP address has been blocked, the Hydra attack freezes or stops because the firewall rule has been placed to block all traffic from that IP address. So that covers stage 1, which is the SSH brute force attack and reconnaissance and initial access. Moving on to stage 2. Stage 2 is privilege escalation. So credential access techniques, red team leverages credential dumping from compromised sessions using stolen SSH keys and harvesting login tokens. The methods used for privilege escalation exploits known CVEs or misconfigured SUIDs binaries to gain boost privileges, enabling deeper control of the system. Logs from the audit daemon and system logs provide crucial evidence of privilege escalation activity and abnormal user processes. And this is the code breakdown. First of all, we see the first line, which specifies that the crypt is and should be executed using the bash cell. This is the shebang line. Then we move on to the privilege escalation detection. This is a comment indicating that the escalation has started. Then this is the function that begins it. So this defines a bash function named monitor privilege escalation to encapsulate logic for detecting privilege escalation activities. Then let's move on to Kali to see how it fully works. So here is our stage 2. You can see that it says setting up audit rule for privileged escalation monitoring. Then it says echo recent to-do related executions. Then right here, it does this, it searches the audits using the key privilege underscore escalation. Then it uses this to save it into AU reports and it summarizes it. So we're going to run this really quickly. While this gives us the raw EXCCV events. So this searches again for any key that has privilege escalation in the audit.log. Then this now grabs XCCVE to show us the raw EXCCVE events. So as you can see here, we ran stage 2 and it says setting up audit rule for privilege escalation monitoring. And it says recent to-do related executions. So this shows us what the privilege escalation that has occurred of recent. So you can see right here, sudo was used in this path, and it was used to also set up the audit. And you can see the audit was also used, and that's why it comes up in the recent sudo related executions. And right here, we can see the raw EXCCV events. Then all these are the events that have taken place under the key privilege escalation. So these events were carried out because the user tried to use an advanced privilege. So the person used sudo and it's flagged as a privilege escalation. So the privilege escalation brought out all this.
Hello, Mr. Abodoyi. Can you demonstrate this? You are showing us a log. Can you demonstrate it live the way is it demonstrated its own? Good. That's what we want to see. Don't talk about what you've done in the past. Demonstrate it. Show us what is working.
Okay, let me do this once more.
Good.
As you can see, first of all, it says set it up for escalation monitoring. Then it gives us all the recent sudo related executions, which are this book. Then it now gives us all the raw events that have been used using the key EXCCVE. Then this shows us everything that has happened, all the events that have taken place using this type EXCCV. And this gives us an idea of everything that has happened. Every time that sudo has been used, this gives us everything.
Okay, this particular mode, this particular option in the tool, what does it, can you scroll back to the tool? The tool, scroll up. So option 2,
Yes, sir.
You chose option 2, privilege escalation detection.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So this particular option helps you dictate privilege escalation. Okay, all right, that's fine. Then
yes, sir.
Do you have more to talk about?
Sir?
Do you have any other thing to add to the explanation?
No, this just shows, in summary, this just shows us that this can give us an idea of what has been used, who used a particular permission at a particular level, and if
a privilege has been escalated. This gives us an idea of what was done using such privilege. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let's move to three. Officially, I think you guys are moving up the rank. You're no longer um, rank and file. You are moving military. You are going up. Your presentation is spot on. Thumbs up. Let's move to the next part.
Stage 3, lateral movement detection. SSH key abuse. First, SSH key abuse monitors for unauthorized use of SSH keys, enabling lateral movement to other hosts within the network. 2, log monitoring analyzes var/log and audit logs to detect anomalous logging patterns across systems. And automated alerts configures email notifications, systemd timers to promptly inform SSC analysts of suspicious lateral activity. Netcat reverse shell detection. The purpose of this is to detect if a backdoor like Netcat is being used for reverse shell communication. Logic. The script checks for any running Netcat processes on the system that might be used for reverse shells. It checks for network connections on suspicious ports like 4444 or 5555, commonly used for reverse shells. Alerts are logged if any suspicious processes or network connection is found. A red alert is displayed in the logs if a match is found. 2, cron job persistence detections. Purpose is to, actually, let me demonstrate the first one. Okay.
No, just round up, then demonstrate everything at once.
Okay, no problem. 2, cron job persistence detection. Purpose is to monitor unauthorized potential malicious cron jobs that could maintain persistence on the system. The logic. The script scans for all cron jobs, user and system level, to detect any unusual or non-commented entries that could indicate malicious activity. It logs an alert if a suspicious cron job is found. A red alert is shown if a suspicious cron job is detected, as you can see here. SSH key persistence detection. The purpose is to detect unauthorized SSH keys that might have been added to the .ssh/authorized_keys file, potentially allowing an attacker to maintain access. Logic. The script checks the modification time of the authorized key file. It has been modified in the last 24 hours, and an alert is triggered, and the modification is logged. If an unknown SSH key is added, it's detected by the alert, and the red alert appears in the logs. Logging and alerts. Throughout each of these checks, the script logs all activities, including any alerts. Alerts are displayed in logs to notify the of suspicious activity, like unauthorized cron jobs, reverse shell connections, or SSH key modifications. The alert is visually highlighted. And how the code works. First, log file creation. Each activity is logged into a file, and the timestamps are included for tracking. 2, suspicious process checks. The script searches for processes and network connections associated with reverse shell or cron jobs. SSH key monitoring. The script checks for modification to the authorized key file and compares timestamps to detect recent changes. And 4, alerting mechanisms. The script displays alerts for suspicious activities, including potential backdoors, cron jobs, or SSH key changes. This setup helps detect potential persistent mechanisms and lateral movement strategies that an attacker might use, such as establishing a reverse shell, using cron jobs to maintain access, or adding unauthorized SSH keys. It is a proactive way to monitor for red flags in the system and ensure timely detection of attacks. So I'll move to Macali. And here we have the code ball. 20. So we have this stage 3. First, netcat activity. So we'll go for the netcat activity first. So I'll just simulate something that might be sort of like a netcat activity. So say netcat dash LVP 4444, and then I'll run it. So it's listening on that. And then I'll choose A and run it. And it has flagged it suspicious netcat ports detected 4444. Okay.
Don't close that. You actually take the option of run all. Let's look at cron jobs. Do you have any cron job currently running on your system?
Yes.
Okay.
So run me again. So we have 3. So I found it. This is the first first simulated attack.
You've already
That's,
set a cron job to simulate this attack in the past.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
all right. Let's see the SSH key modification option.
Okay.
Okay,
So let me run.
can you run all at the same time?
Yes. Oh, they can run at the same time. I'm coming to let me.
So what you have in the middle, that tail-f var.log stage 3 monitor.log, what is that?
This is where I set it to actually monitor. This is why I set it to actually monitor if any suspicious activity is found.
Okay, in real time.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So let's move to that's stage 3. Let's move to the stage 4 of the script.
Stage 4, data exfiltration and network monitoring. So exfiltration channels. Detection focuses on HTTP and FTP protocols, commonly abused to exfiltrate sensitive data. Network monitoring tools utilize T-Shark, NetStat, and ISOF for real-time traffic analysis and open connection identification. Automated response integrates cron jobs to run periodic checks and trigger IP tables, block rules, or alerting systems. The code simulates and detects data exfiltration via HTTP/FTP and generates alerts based on file size thresholds. Simulates data exfiltration. Creates a dummy file. It creates a dummy file, xu_data.txt, with random data for exfiltration. Then simulates HTTP data upload using the call to a specified server. Then simulates FTP data upload using the FTP command to a specified FTP server. Then monitor network traffic. Uses T-Shark, a network packet analyzer, to monitor HTTP and FTP requests on the network interface HCHO 8080. Then captures relevant traffic, HTTP request or FTP request, and saves the output to a file, T-Shark_output.txt. Then generates alerts. It checks the size of the exfiltrated file, xfile_data.txt, Then if the file size exceeds 10 MB, the script triggers an alert indicating potential large data exfiltration. Execution flow. The script combines simulation monitoring and alerting into a single execution flow. It ensures that the network traffic is monitored for 30 seconds using Tshark and then stop monitoring. Then saves the network traffic logs to tshark_output.txt and reports whether the exfiltrated file exceeds the file threshold, the size threshold. So I'll move to my Kali and run through the code and demonstrate it too. So this is the code. So here is the function to simulate data upload. So here, simulate exfiltration. This part signifies that the process has started. As you can see, simulating data exfiltration via HTTP and FTP. Then it creates a dummy file for exfiltration. That's just for exfiltration. That's xil_data.txt. Then this DD, it picks random data from /dev random, then put it into the dummy file. Then I set it to generate a 15 MB random file because we'll get back to that later. Then simulate HTTP upload requires a test server URL. So here's just a test server. Then echo simulating HTTP upload to $HTTP server. Then call -x post -f means post this file to the HTTP server. Then this and greater than dev null, it means run it in background without noise. Then moving on, simulate FTP upload. Let me scroll. Simulate FTP upload requires FTP server credentials. So I set this to be the credentials. FTP server equals to FTP.example. FTP user equals to anonymous, and FTP_path equals to password. Then here it's showing simulating FTP upload to the FTP server. Then it says user FTP_server, FTP_path. Like
can we, Mr. Taiwo Michael, can you just summarize what each of those block of function does? Reading through each of the code will take so much of our time.
Okay. So the first part is the function just simulates data upload, everything here. Then this is where I call out the function. Then the other function, it just monitor exfiltration using Tshark. Then the last function is to generate alerts. If Excel file is greater than 10 MB, it's going to generate alerts. Then the main execution flow, this here is just to start data exfiltration, simulation and detection. Then simulation exfiltration are the three functions here. Then echo script execution completed. So let me demonstrate this real quick. So moving on to the Kali. So that's stage 4. So it has started data exfiltration, simulation, and detection. It's showing us the records in, the records out, the bytes copied, and the MB per second. Then it's simulating HTTP upload to the HTTP test server that I put. Then it's simulating FTP upload to ftp.example.com. That's another server that I put. Then it's monitoring the traffic with Tshark. Then it's capturing on ATHO.
So can you show us this server? You said you simulating.
No, it's a test server. It's just a test server.
It's a test server. Okay.
Yes. So now it says check tshark_output.txt for captured traffic. So now let's check tshark_output. And it also showed us alert. Exfiltrated file exceeds 10 MB. That's because I actually created a file, a dummy file of 15 MB earlier. So it actually stated out that it exceeds 10 MB. Then we check the Tshark output file. Okay, Tshark. Then this is the data captured. As you can see, for captured traffic, this is the traffic captured on tshark_output.txt. So this is basically the data exfiltration and simulation and detection. This is it. That's for stage 4.
Okay, let's move to stage 5.
So stage 5 is metro attack and mapping. First of all, reconnaissance. We are mapping brute force SSH with initial access techniques. Secondly, privilege escalation. We're tracking exploitation paths via SUID binaries and non-CVEs. Then lateral movement. We're correlating SSH misuse within the network and exploitation. We're identifying data leaks via HTTP and FTP channels. And this is the code breakdown. Start from here. Then first of all, we define the function map to metro attack. Then we say we're mapping this. Then this is the output. But these are the codes that make this work. So we say bash echo, print out brute force detection. Then first of all, we're now grepping our off the log file. We now say awk. They give us 3 lines from behind, then sort it, then make it unique.
Sorry, can you flip back to the first part? Okay, no. Calm down a bit. Okay, the first code is batch echo map detection. Okay. Okay, you actually use that. Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yes. Okay. T110, this brute force detection. So we go to the auth.log file. We go and look for failed passwords, which shows us failed logins, which are essentially brute force attacks. Then we sort it. We get the IP addresses. That's 3 lines from behind. Then we sort it. We use unique -c. Then we sort it once more. Then we get the head, the first one out of all of them. Then, so secondly, we use privilege escalation attempts. I'll run all of this once I'm done explaining. So we say bash echo this, then EU search to look for privilege escalation key in the audit log that I already pre-installed. So I have this code that tells me to look for this particular key, privilege escalation, search it, then grep execve, which shows all the types. This particular execve shows us all the privilege escalation attempts. Let me switch over to my Kali to show how it really work. So here are all the codes. Let me run it. But before I run it, I would like to, for the exfiltration to work, I have to get the URL from some websites. Just gonna start this. So wait for the HTTP exfiltration attempts. So it has concluded, and let's scroll to the top to explain what this is all about. So first of all, it says mapping detected events to meteor attack framework. Then it says this is the first one, T110, which is the brute force detection. So this gives us the IP address with the most attempts or with the least attempt of failed password. Then this shows us the privilege escalation attempt, which shows where sudo has been used and what it has been used for all over the system. Most of it shows that I ran this particular file, which is thread.sh. So that's what that's about. And we can see the scheduled task and the persistence. So this shows us all the scheduled tasks running behind in the system. Let me just scroll up this. While this shows us all the remote services and the SSH access. So this gives us an idea of all the times I've gotten my SSH open and all the time I've accessed the service. So this is Kali, gives us the time and everything, and the time that we use to access the service. And we can see all the users that accessed each service, SSH service. Or for the HTTP attempts. Let's run it once.
Okay, let's take the final part. Have you finished demonstrating?
I just want to make sure the HTTP aspects to show. So as you can see right here, I just did it. Because I got this particular URL, we can see the HTTP exfiltration attempt. So once that is put in place, it gives us an output that this particular time and this particular IP address visited this URL. So this is what the HTTP FTP exfiltration attempt outputs for us.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Let's move to the last part of the code.
Stage 6, threat mitigation and automation. This stage focuses on automating threat mitigation actions in response to suspicious activity. The goal is to detect potential attacks and take corrective actions to neutralize them. Key areas of focus include 1. Process monitoring and termination. Suspicious processes monitors processes like netcat or reverse shell processes, which are often used by attackers to create backdoors. Action. When suspicious processes are detected, terminate them immediately to prevent the attacker from maintaining access. 2. Cron job monitoring and removal. Suspicious cron jobs check for unauthorized cron jobs that may be scheduled to maintain persistence for the attacker, like malicious scripts. Action. Remove any detected suspicious cron jobs to estimate persistence mechanisms such set up by attackers. 3. SSH key persistence check. SSH key modification. Monitor the root/SSH/authorized keys file for any unauthorized addition or modifications, which could indicate that an attacker has gained access and added their own key for persistent logging. Action. Restore the authorized keys from a backup to remove unauthorized keys and regain control. 4. Automation with the script. The script is structured with functions that handle each task as a main case structure to execute specific actions based on the user's input. Logging. All actions and findings are logged within timestamps to provide an audit trail, ensuring that each event is recorded and can be reviewed later for further analysis. And key actions: process termination, cron job cleanup, SSH key restoration, and automation. So let me demonstrate it. Which is okay, so I'll start the netcat again. Okay.
I think the best you could have done is actually do a netcat that connects to another system. Connect first, netcat to a server. Next time when you're doing it, use the -e bin bash. You should have connected to maybe your system. Then maybe you are in a chatting mode. Then not just on a listening mode. Then you can now run the script. That's actually, or maybe you are fully taking over another system with netcat.
Okay.
That shows a full exploitation. Okay, you can continue though.
Okay, sir. So I select A to kill suspicious processes, and it ends it immediately.
Okay, can we try netcat -e? Do you know how to implement the netcat that connects to bin bash?
Not exactly, sir.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay. What are the problems you encountered building this project?
The first one was that basically the main one was pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition. Okay, good.
Yes, recognizing patterns, because sometimes the pattern can be different. So you have to narrow down the pattern so that it will actually go for basically everything that looks like either a cron job or something that's out of place.
So how did you develop this project? A breakdown of how to develop this project.
A breakdown.
Okay, now just explain how and how we work together to develop this project.
This particular stage was my stage. I worked on this part alone.
Okay, you gave each of the stages to different people to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who worked on the first stage?
Chimere.
That was me, sir.
Okay, who worked on the second stage?
Me, sir.
Okay, who worked on the third stage?
I was the one, sir.
Okay, then on the fourth stage?
So it was me, sir.
Then fifth stage?
I was the one again, sir.
Okay, then the last stage?
It was me.
Okay, this is actually a brilliant attempt. However, it can be improved. So you can actually go back. That netcat attempt where you connect to either service on your system or a total different system, start that up and text to check if this particular incident response can claim it up. It's actually wonderful and a brilliant attempt. I give you guys kudos. It shows that you are actually putting your skills into use. And secondly, you are actually taking up the challenge. The space is very competitive. It's actually not where you sit on the fence. You have to put your skills out and actually put it on offensive. We actually did this and put it online. So congratulations once more to Group 1, Tcn2501. Do you have any question for us?
No, sir.
No,
Okay,
sir.
all right, that's fine. So
No,
you
sir.
can exit the platform. Let's have the next group coming. So congratulations once more.
Okay, sir.
This is a very brilliant attempt.
All
Okay,
right,
sir.
thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, so good morning, sir. Today we'll be talking about simulation, detection, and response to a multi-stage Linux attack, and we're Group 2 in this industry project. So the group members include Okoye Sunday, Achoyim Chidera, which is myself, and Odubanjo Boluwatife. So we're trying to explore simulating and defending complex Linux cyber attacks in a controlled lab environment. Next. So the project overview, I'm going to speak on the goal summary and the key roles in the whole MITRE attack. So the first thing in the goal summary is to simulate a realistic Linux cyber attack, right? The next is to detect and analyze using native Linux tools like Nmap and all of those. The third one is to map attackers' actions to MITRE attack, and then harden systems and automate detection. The key roles are the attacker, which is a Kali VM launching attacks, and then victim, which is vulnerable Linux server, which we have, and then the analyst, which is Kali or the same host for monitoring. Next, the MITRE attack framework. So there's network discovery. So the first step in the attack is called network service discovery, which is where the attacker from a Kali Linux server. Wait, give me a second. Network service discovery credential access. All right. So this is where the attacker from the Kali Linux service machine scans the target server to find out where services are running and which ports are basically open. So we use the tool like Nmap to gather this information. For example, we found that the SSH service was active, which basically gave us a potential entry point. And in real life, this is basically the phase that helps the attacker choose their next move, and it also determines their entry point. So in our scenario, their entry point was SSH. The next is the brute force or credential access, right? And which is basically brute forcing. So after finding our SSH service, we've moved into the brute force attack phase, which is basically password guessing. So here we use the tool called Hydra, right, to try thousands of password combinations against the SSH service of our victim, Kali. And because we had intentionally set a weak password on the server, Hydra eventually succeeded and gave us the access to the password. So this basically mimics the real attackers, like what real attackers do when targeting misconfigured and poorly secured systems. Next is execution, right? So once inside the system, we gained secure shell access, right? And this is where the command and scripting interpreter techniques comes to play. So we run a Linux command through the terminal to navigate and manipulate files and prepare the next stage of the attacks. For example, we use Netcat to set up a reverse shell, allowing us to maintain a remote connection, even if the SSH was shut down. And this stage basically shows how attackers maintain control using built-in tools, right? There was privilege escalation, which is we just basically exploited for privileges. So as a regular user or as regular users after gaining the access, we didn't have like full system control yet. So we used a known vulnerability in a misconfigured SUID binary on the server, right? And this basically allowed us to escalate privileges and become root users, which gave us full control of the system. So this is basically known as MITRE exploitation for privileges and escalation. So this basically mirrors how will attackers take advantage of system flaws to gain power. There is lateral movement discovery and data exfiltration. So once we entered the system, we perform what we call exfiltration, which is basically transferring data or information to wherever we want after we've gained access, right? Next slide.
You are just still on one particular slide. All this while you've been talking.
Sunday. All right, so lab setup and the baseline. So the first thing we did is enter the Kali and we created an environment. So we had the Kali and the target VMs configured with network connectivity. So target configuration, which is weak SSH credentials, vulnerable packages and SUID misconfiguration, dummy sensitive files placed, and monitoring tools like audits for audit login, T-Shark for packet capture, and optional tripwire for file integrity. So we use commands like sudo apt-get update and sudo apt-get install for audit the T-Shark, NetTools, and the following list like John, Hydra. All of those are all things that we needed to install to perform the attack. That was the first phase of the attack. So the next is Sunday. Next slide. All right, baselining. So we ran lines, Linus, and all these tools for vulnerability assessment. And then we captured baseline. So we opened the network ports documented, running processes enumerated, and SUID and critical files identified. Next. Attack simulation. So this is the second phase of our whole thing. We are about to simulate the attack after creating the environment that we're working in. So first is reconnaissance, which is network discovery. Second is credential, which is Hydra for password brute force SSH logging. There's execution, which is SSH access and establishing reversal connection. Fourthly, we have privilege escalation, which is exploiting SUID vulnerabilities and CVS. And then there's exfiltration, which is data transferred via FTP or HTTP channels. Next. First thing we did is reconnaissance or network discovery with Nmap. So the purpose of this whole reconnaissance is to identify active hosts and open ports on the target network. So we are gathering critical information for attack strategy planning. And the Nmap capabilities is to host discovery and ping sweeps, port scanning to detect services, version and OS detection, and then scriptable interactions for deeper analysis. The next. So in this image, this is a screenshot of where we set up the Nmap in order to scan our victim IP, and we discovered that the FTP was closed, but the SSH was open, so we decided to attack to the SSH. Next. Now initial access. So password cracking tool is Hydra, which is what we use to automate SSH password brute force attempts. And then the attack objective is to gain unauthorized access to weak or common passwords. Real-time monitoring basically detect rapid login attempts and failed entries with audit logs. Next. Password cracking. So obviously we used Hydra for the user Kali, and then we created the password list with Crunch to crack the password for our victim IP, for our victim SSH, and then the local host is obviously SSH. We use verbose and -f to show the information and stop when it's successful. So we cracked the password, and the password was Kali, which led us to our next phase. Our next step. Bulu.
All right, so I'll be taking over from here. So after we've actually gotten initial access into the system and now executing, this is where we're carrying out all the different tasks we would carry out as the hacker that we simulated that we was. And here we first of all got SSH access and we used stolen credentials, so the passwords that we got, the password and username we got that we inputted into the Hydra. We use it to securely connect into the target system. And we actually simulated this in one of our last scenario exams as well, where after we got the password, we now use it to connect to the host. So that's what we did here basically. And once we were in, we reverse shelled, we created a reverse shell. So we established a backdoor to start executing commands remotely and maintain control. And then this is when we started running commands on victims to escalate the privileges that we've got. So here we started moving in between different directories. We started finding like possible passwords, possible information in different directories that we were. And we also kind of wanted to find weak SUID configuration. So we inputted a prompt that basically goes through the whole SUID checklist and checks where there are misconfigurations or bad executions. And now in this code, you can see that, all right, we've gotten the password, we've gotten the IP, we're in. And as you can see here, we use netcat. We use netcat to basically look through the bin bash folder and everything and find possible SUIDs in that particular directory. Go on to the next slide, please, Sunday. Now, here we are manipulating our privilege escalation. We're exploiting SUID vulnerabilities, which basically allow us to basically elevate our privileges. The access that we've gotten, now we're exploiting it. We're seeing the greatest damage we can do to this particular device or to this particular victim. And the thing about this is we leverage known CVEs, which provide us critical access to root level control, which we shouldn't have access to. Root level control should only be given to the admin or somebody that is authorized to do that. But obviously, we're not authorized to do that, but we are exploiting this vulnerability. We are escalating the privilege that we've been given to get in. And here we use special permissions to basically carry out executables on SUIDs that were misconfigured, where the user of the device didn't configure the security settings properly. We exploited that. And we also use publicly known vulnerabilities to bypass security like netcat. And that is a vulnerability that we know through our nmap, through our initial reconnaissance, because we found out that, okay, this port is open. This is a public vulnerability that we can use that we found out from the Mitra attack framework following the guidelines in there. And we gained root access and compromised the entire system security. And on a normal day, this is something that doesn't seem light, but to a big industry or to a big company, it has can cause great fundamental damage. For instance, I don't know if you guys know, there's a company in UK right now. It's called Marks and Spencer. It's basically a clothing brand, and they are going through a cyber attack right now. And for the past 1 week, they have stopped all online purchases or all online deliveries, and it is calculated that they are losing $3.8 million every day. And the cyber attackers did the exact same thing that we're talking about right now. Through misconfigured security checkpoints, they managed to get access into it and they've escalated the privileges. What they are now doing is they're isolating the whole thing. So they've closed down their servers, they isolated everything, they are trying to isolate the threats. But basically, these privileges that we've been given that we shouldn't have been given is what we exploited and manipulated. And this project allowed us to know how we can carry this out in a real life scenario. Go on to the next slide, please, Sunday. All right, so you can see our privilege escalation here. Here we did a command that looks through and fishes out where misset SUIDs are given. And as you can see, through everything that it lists out for us here, we can see user bin passwords. We can see user bin get passwords. We can see a lot of different things where only the root owner should have access to. Oh, us not being root access owners, we're having access to all these different things. And this is the vulnerabilities that we are seeing and we are actively exploiting, and we are finding them by escalating our privileges. We are trying to find, okay, what more damage can I do? What more information can I get? What more access points can I infiltrate to get access to? Go on to the next slide, please. So now we are doing credential access with private key discovery. So the technique we employed here was identifying exposed private SSH keys for unauthorized access. And we located keys like ID RSA to gain system entry silently, and secure storage and monitoring of private keys to help prevent breaches. So this is basically how we went about it. After we've gotten access, we now identified unknown keys. As you can see here, we carried out the SSH key gen. We used it to fish out private access keys that we shouldn't have access to, that we are running as root members. And it gave us different SSH. You can see begin open SSH private key. It gave us different private keys that we shouldn't generally have access to. Go on to the next slide, please. Data exfiltration. This is where once we have exploited the privileges we have seen, once we have carried out the vulnerabilities we have seen, once we have exploited them, we are now trying to fish out, bring out all those things and use it to the best of our advantage, whether we want to use it to claim money from the source or whether we want to use it to do damage or whether we just want to destroy the system completely. This is where we are making those decisions. And common channels that we use for data exfiltration are FTP and HTTP. And these are actually a lot of frequently exploited channels because they have the highest known publicly known vulnerabilities. And detection challenges that we probably would face in a real life scenario was encrypted or disguised transfers, which often evade standard monitoring tools. So this is something we also implemented. So we dummied our way into the system to make it look like normal monitoring tools that they will usually have.
Hello. All this while that you guys have been talking, nobody has demonstrated anything. I've not seen the tool. I'm just only seeing PDF.
It's still coming up. It's still coming up. You see the demonstration.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
You see the demonstration. And onto our mitigation strategies, we use network traffic analysis and strict outbound filtering to prevent leaks. Sorry, what slide number is this, please, Sunday? Exfiltration. Yes, here we created listening and we started to get information and we carted files that we found from the victim. Can you move on? Go to the next slide. Next slide.
Okay, I'll be taking it from here. So the next phase after all this is detection and live monitoring. So we set up log detection, automated log detection on the target system. We use commands like tail-f for real-time log monitoring. We use AU search for audit log queries, and we use netstats and process aux for network or process inspection. During all this process, we also use Wireshark to capture the network traffic in the system. So while also using log monitoring, we also do some threat analysis and we do some attack mapping, mutual attack mapping. So we correlate each log, that is the aud.log, the syslog, and the audit records, and then we reconstruct the attack timeline. Then moving on to the next phase, we have mitigation and hardening. So the actions include to terminate attacker processes, change all compromised passwords, disable SSH login, and enable fail to ban. Hardening steps also include the correct SUID file permissions to restrict outbound traffic via firewalls and rerun Linux and RP Hunter for reassessments.
Sorry, can you come again? That you are restricting outbound traffic via firewalls.
Firewalls.
Outbound traffic, do you know what you're saying? That means you don't want, is it from the system? You don't want him to send out any message outside because it's supposed to be the reverse. You restrict all inbound traffic, not outbound traffic.
That is outbound. Like when
Can you
attacker
explain?
tries to get data from the victim system, the traffic is going out of the system. So all the confidential files, the vulnerabilities, everything is going out of the system into the attacker's
I'm
system.
not sure you are actually putting the information in the right perspective. When you are sending that message from your system, what kind of traffic is that? Is it inbound
Outbound.
or outbound?
Outbound.
So if you are
Yes.
restricting outbound traffic via firewall, do you really understand what you're saying? You cannot
Yes.
restrict all outbound traffic via firewalls. Simply seems that you do not take your firewall lab very well. It actually denies all inbound traffic by default. Now, if somebody actually attacks your system from the outside or is attacking your system, it's simply what is the email server. You understand? You know, I've kept quiet all this while is because I just want you guys to actually talk, and I don't want to actually maybe kill your motivation and all this stuff. Attacks have surface, attack surface. It has vector. Do you get it? So as you go up, be specific. Now, in a network, no attacker can come in if there is firewall and the interfaces are well segmented. One of the ways they come in is what phishing attacks. You see all this SSH attack you are doing is you can only attack what you can see. So the guy who is talking about an expensive people attack, it's phishing. Somebody has actually logged in somewhere and actually took its time to actually get into one system. From there, move from one system to the other system and actually started what. So most of the time, it's not directly on the network. And that you can see, if in that your case, they actually restrict all outbound traffic. You understand? How will people be able to access the network? So India own case is incoming traffic because you must always go to the site, look at the shots, look at what you want to buy, and actually get that out. So when you say restrict outbound traffic via firewalls, it's a little bit, it's a wrong admin step. Terminate attacker's process, change all compromised password, disable SSH password login, enable fail to ban. That looks actually like a mitigation plan. Then hardening, restricting outbound traffic via firewalls. It doesn't fly. So that you don't really understand, because I'm chatting to you. My conversation which is already an outbound traffic. The fact that you can connect to me is an outbound traffic. So if you are restricting it, how do I provide service? It's inbound traffic. So what is in practice is you only allow what? Inbound traffic that are necessary. You shut down every other inbound traffic. Inbound traffic that are necessary, port 443, port 80. Now, every outbound traffic. I've always said, talk from the point of, I think the next project you're going to do, first you do what? Have a network architecture in view and use the network architecture to actually develop your tool. Then it will show clearly that you cannot actually, you will not be talking from the space, you will be talking from what? A network architecture. Do you get it clearly? So if you are telling me that you are restricting outbound traffic, you know I kept quiet all this while. It's simply because somehow you've actually lost touch with what an architecture is. So you can continue, but that particular adding step is totally wrong. You can continue.
So this is a basic SSH hardening script. This script accesses the SSH config file, and then it adds rules or edits the rules in the config file. So here, this one, it's editing the password authentication as no, and it's not permitting root login. So root login as no. And then it restarts the SSH service.
All right, that's fine. That's actually a good attempt.
So we have the final phase here as automation and alerting. So we create Bash and Python scripts to monitor, log, and trigger alerts. Then anytime an alert is triggered, an email notification will be sent on suspicious activity detected. We also have the automated blocking. IP addresses will be automatically blocked with the IP table rules. And we have scheduling using cron and system MD timers for script automation. So here we have a automated log monitoring script. It accesses the all.log, the audit.log file, and it's running checks every 5 minutes here on the all.log and audit.log. But it returns nothing here, and then it starts as checks completes and sleeps for another 5 minutes. But if there are any anomalies, it will send an email, suspicious
please.
email alert.
Can you demonstrate this tool?
Okay.
Demonstrate it in real time. This tool that you actually have, demonstrate it in real time. Let's see it. It's more easier that way. We've been talking for almost 30 minutes. I've not seen any tool.
So here we have a fail to ban. This one installs fail to ban here, and it creates.
Can we see the full stack of your tool, or did you do it in different phases? Where is the full stack of your tool?
I did it in different phases. This here is a automatic log checker here.
Okay, you will actually see, just hold on. You will see what the first group did. I can remember the last time we came here. You understand? Now, if you've been watching the video from International Project, the tool come in all stacks, one single stack. Now you have various options. Select 1, select 2, select 3, select 4, select 5, select 6. That's how all industrial tool comes. The essence, I will repeat, the essence of this session is to ensure that what you're doing here is in tandem and aligning with industrial standard, international industrial standard. So you cannot be saying you are running an enterprise tool. One of the scripts is in one part. The other of the script is in another part. That's total what? Forced failure. Did you get it clearly? So they are supposed to be in one pack. So you have an option of what you want to check. You have an option you want to check. You have an option you want to check. You have an option of what you want to check. With part, you know, the first project you guys did, I didn't actually publish it online. It's simply because it didn't meet with that singular standard. Do you get it? Good. Your effort, well noted, is good and it's fine. You understand? But moving forward, all the projects you have to do, they should come in a stack. So once you run the script, it shows the full stack. Option 1, SSH, so and so. Option 2, so and so. Option 3, so and so. So it's easier for you to demonstrate all within one stretch. Are you getting it? So you see that a tree cannot make a forest. No matter how good you are, you cannot beat a team. Those other group ones, they have a team. It's like you are the only one developing this thing. The other guys are not. So they distributed each of those stacks to themselves. Then they came back and joined it together. No matter how good you are, you cannot beat a team. You can actually finish your demonstration, but without that first stack, I think you've actually failed the project. Because this is the second time we're doing this industrial presentation. And if you should come up with individual scripts, it's not making sense. I'm sure you'll be seeing the videos of what other people are doing. Is it coming in a one script? So try to align your capabilities to that standard. You guys are very lucky in this generation where you have things like AI, all different tools that actually help you. Those days, you understand, once you run out of idea, your knowledge stops there. There's nobody to ask. You'll be waiting for somebody until the person comes and tell you. She might keep you waiting for 4 days, 5 days. At the prompt of your fingertips, you have thousands of information. I had left university when I started noticing that I did not use, I missed out on the generation of YouTube. Then there are a lot of information on YouTube. So apart from YouTube these days, you have AI. Although AI can be wrong, but it could give you a lot of guide to actually achieve much faster. I think we should run this up here so that the next time you actually come, I think group one won this case. The next time you come, package your, maybe because you guys are three. And you learn to use your pain to fuel your passion. The fact that you guys are three does not mean you don't have enough number. You understand? So one person can be equal to 5 persons put together in terms of capabilities. So if you're the only one doing it, it's totally wrong. You should carry everybody along in what you're doing. Or you guys should sit down and plan, allocate each of these tasks to one another. And your presentation was actually a little bit bad. So you can stop sharing your screen. At each phase of their stack, they demonstrated, you'll be moving into penetration testing, this is forensics. At each lab, you start using different tools. And in June, you'll be doing, this one you're doing is still a child's play. You'll be doing real projects in penetration testing where you get to stretch yourself as a group and as an individual. Then the last week is your interview. So we are trying to actually change the narrative and ensure, maybe you can go back and ask your predecessor if they did all this last year. No, they didn't do all this last year. Do you get it clearly? It is because we are increasing the quality of the training and we want to ensure that after the time you are leaving, you're already ready to work for industry. So the fact that you're going to complete your 400 level, that is why you're going back to school. So are you with me? Good. So next time you're coming with a group project or you're developing a tool stack, it should actually come in one script, not multiple scripts. So that's the standard in the industry. So as you can see, maybe you are not seeing clearly. I will try to demonstrate, show you 3 different scripts, 3 different presentations. All the tool came in one stack. Are you saying it? It always comes with what? Are you seeing? So it comes, are you seeing options? So that's how standard project comes in. So try to follow standards. Are you seeing? Good. So if it's not coming in that format, then there's a problem with your scripting. That means you're not taking time to do research properly. Let me look at other people that we have. So so that we don't waste our time coming here and you're just repeating the same error all the time. So we are not making progress. Are you getting it? So the whole essence is to expose you And if you're not being exposed and actually understand what the industry takes, then there's a problem. Sorry. This one is a more matured person. This project is a little bit complex. Are you seeing? So in one script, it's showing you what all the options you need. Let me see if I can bring back. I just want to show you the first page. So you have the right to choose any options of the stack you want to use. Do you get it clearly now? Should I actually show another one? There have been tons of them being developed. So if you're still developing in parts and bits, then there's a problem with your automation skills. So what are you taking away? I can see you have the option of taking forensics. But unfortunately, I noticed it late. So you might step that while you get back to school. So you have the access from now to December, finish forensics. There's forensics actually in your platform. So because if you look at this guy, that Rwandan guy, same training he took with people. So the only difference here is that it took SOC analysis instead of what? Penetration testing. So there's Windows forensics here. So you're giving your best shot, but I think you did not put your project together. You know, your lines of thoughts are actually going in the right direction, but you not put your thoughts together in the right packaging. So if you had looked, there are tons of tools on GitHub that will give you a direction in the right direction to what we are currently doing. So there are tons of them, except you did not do your research very, very well. So any tool you are developing from here moving forward should come in a full stack. Then you have options. It shows first you have done you've done a good background job. Now, let it be that maybe the content of the script, there are some little faults, but the first presentation start shows that you understand how tools are presented in the industry. Do you have any question for me? All right, that's fine. So penetrations, and you have not submitted your video, I guess, is because those of you who have not submitted your video, ensure you submit it before the end of the week. By Sunday, I will actually open the lab for penetration testing. We'll start penetration.
So what video is that?
Video for the video recording, the 10 minutes video recording for your last lab. You've submitted yours, right?
The YouTube one.
The YouTube one.
Is the one on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one I put.
Yeah, you submit. I've not seen the one from Okay Sunday. I've not seen the one from Bulu Atife. So you can submit yours if you don't have any question for me. So the essence of the project is for you to actually understand how to build international class project that is presentable anywhere. Do you get it clearly? Good. So what you've done, as you can see, it's not presentable. It's not presentable. It's not that you don't have the technical capability, but you don't take your time to put it all together. Do you understand? So the packaging, the finishing has to be presentable. So see you guys on Monday. Today is what, Friday. See you guys on Monday, 9 a.m.